Yeah, I know we hadn't been here for a while, but look what he did. Look what he did. It's going to be back. Just got to be patient.
All right.
Because he still controls everything.
Yep.
Remember continue to pray for the Christian Martin family out of Muncie. Pray for that family. And pray for the Cage family. Pray for them. Then pray for yourself. The one next to you. The one behind you. The one in front of you. Even pray for yourself. Because we all stand in need of prayer.
I'd like to give a word for Diane's out of the hospital now. She's going through some other issues, but the blessing is that she didn't have the coronavirus. More than anything, when she would have had it, it affected me and Harrison. But it still affects me and Harrison what she's going through now.
Right.
And we don't know what's going on with her. They said that she had the virus. Well, now they're trying to say that she might have lung cancer. But, in the end, it's all up to God.
That's right.
Even the blessing of it is, though, we all know she's saved. So it doesn't get there.
Right.
So just want to give everybody, keep praying for Diane, because, it's killing her that she's not in church. So it's a blessing to be here. When we wasn't here, we was on the phone, and still lifting up. But it's just an honor that we have God in our life.
Amen. God is still.
I just wanted to give praise. Brittany had a little flare up with some of her illness and got brought up.
Amen.
I know where it's been a long time. God was with her and he
God, someone said if I could just touch the hem of his garment, so I'll be healed, be made whole. Shall we bow our heads? Lord, we once again have come in your presence. You said where there's 2 or 3 gathered, you'll be in the midst of it. Ever so greatly, Lord, that we're able to come to the house of worship one more time.
Yes.
Seems like dark clouds are hovering over.
Yes.
But my grandmother used to say that at the end of every dark cloud has a silver lining. Sometimes our way seems dark. The tunnel seems cloudy. But at the end of the tunnel, there's a light.
Yes.
So weeping and gnashing may do, but we do know this, Lord, that joy comes in the morning.
Yes, Lord. Yes.
We thank you, Lord, for sitting high and still looking low, and thank you for your grace and your mercy. And
Thank you, Lord. Thank you.
thank you for looking beyond our fault, seeing our needs. Thank you for your protection. Thank you for supplying our everyday need, Lord. Thank you.
Yes, Lord.
Realizing that you've been better to us than we have our own self.
Yes, yes.
But your word said we lift our eyes unto the hills from which cometh all of our help and our strength. And it comes from you, Lord. Every perfect gift comes from you.
Yes.
And we thank you.
Thank you, Lord. Thank you.
Thank you, Lord, just for having a portion of strength and health.
Yes, 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 yes.
Just even able to wave our hands in the air and able to see, able to hear the little things that we take so much for granted. We thank you. Thank you for last night's lying down.
Yes.
This early morning rise, Lord, we thank you.
Yes.
thank you for bringing us through another safe week. We thank you, Lord. But Lord, if you will, the names that was mentioned under your house this morning, we ain't going to tell you to go there because you're already there.
Yeah.
But would you touch right now in the mighty name of Jesus?
Touch, Lord, touch.
All those that are bereavement, touch right now. Sister Diane Rice, touch her right now, Lord.
Touch, Lord, touch.
Mold her, continue to work with her, work in her. Be ever greatly to give you the praise.
Yes.
Then, Lord, we thank you for Pastor White and Sister White. Thank you.
Thank you, Lord. Thank you.
And their kids, Lord, thank you for continuing to bless them, Lord. Continue to give him the strength that he needs to do what thus said the Lord, Lord, to lead your people. And then, Lord, give him power this morning to preach an uncompromising gospel that the end result may be that somebody might stand and ask, what must I do to be saved?
Yes.
We thank you, Lord,
Thank you.
for bringing us over the dangerous highways. Lord, we thank you for when we was in the valley, you was with us. We thank you, Lord, for when we was on the mountaintop, you was with us. Lord, we thank you.
Thank you, Lord. Thank you.
Thank you for just being who you are, Lord. Alpha and Omega, the first and the last, the beginning and the end, Lord. We thank you for being our creator, our sustainer.
Thank you, Lord.
Thank you. If I've omitted anything, Lord, charge it to my mind now, Lord.
Yes.
As we climb higher into your worship, because we come to worship you. Wherever your gospel is being preached this morning,
Yes.
let it go out and not come back void. Don't know what lies on tomorrow, but we thank you
Lord.
for right now.
Yeah. Right now.
This is my prayer, Lord. Present it to your Father. And everything will be all right.
Yes.
In Jesus' name.
In Jesus' name.
In Jesus' name.
Yeah. In Jesus' name.
Amen.
Amen.
thanking you for the privilege of prayer. Pray now that you forgive me of my sins, cleanse me from unrighteousness. Stand in my body, think with my mind, speak with my mouth. Let the words of my mouth, the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight. O Lord, my strength and my redeemer. In Jesus' name I pray and thank you. And thank you again for praying. In Jesus' name, amen. Stand in the need.
Amen.
Recognize the preachers, Reverend Taylor and Gibson, Reverend Chambers, and the deacons, Brother Field and Brother Brian, and to all of you, the Mount Olive family and friends,
Pastor White,
both here in the sanctuary and listening on Conference USA, as well as on Facebook Live. It's good to see you, and good to know that you're listening and watching. Amen.
Amen.
Don't want to hold you long. Look at John 14, 1 through 3. John 14, 1 through 3. John 14, 1 through 3. And I'm glad today Sister White is here.
Amen. Yes, Lord.
Recovering. It's good to see her here. Moving along. John 14, 1 through 3. Reads as follows. Let not your heart be troubled. Ye believe in God, believe also in me. In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. If I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you unto myself, that where I am, there ye may be also.
Amen.
Talk about this for a few moments. When trouble comes, don't trip. Just trust the Lord. When trouble comes, don't trip. Just trust the Lord. We're in our 85th day now in dealing with this coronavirus pandemic. There are now more than 5 million people worldwide who have been identified as testing positive for this disease. We're approaching 350,000 people worldwide who have died from this dreaded disease. In our country alone, there are more than 1.6 million people that tested positive. We're approaching approximately, if we haven't already, 100,000 deaths. If we haven't reached it already within the next few days. And with all of the focus that the world has put on this issue, it's not hard for many of us to shift our focus from Christ to the latest, quote unquote, breaking news about what's going on. But this is the first time in the history of the world, physically speaking, that the entire population of the entire world is having to deal with the same issue at the same time. That's something between 7 to 8 billion people. And it's troubling to witness the effect that this virus has had on the world, because we witness firsthand how the trouble we're in now can knock you down, can knock you out. But you do know trouble is just that way.
Yeah.
Trouble can hit you with a blow of devastation.
Wow.
And the lingering effects of that blow can last for years to come, for a period of grief and prolonged anguish. Trouble can be cruel, cold, and callous. Trouble can be unkind, uncaring, and unconcerned. Trouble can be devastating, disheartening, and destructive. But Jesus has a word of encouragement for us in our text today, a word that will help us to trust and not trip. John 14, 1 through 3 is like going to the Pacific Ocean. When you take a dip, you can hardly reach the surface. This passage is deep enough for scholars to dive in and never reach the bottom.
Well,
Yet shallow enough for babies to swim in and never drown. These words have visited more funeral homes and cemeteries than most passages in the Bible. The passage is one that is dear to many and has provided some measure of comfort for those who may be going through it. Many of us have our favorite passages. There are some you can use once or twice. There are others you can use every now and then. Psalm 23 comes to mind. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. Psalm 34 is another where he says, I will bless the Lord at all times. His praise shall continually be in my mouth. Yes, meat and bread passages like in Hebrew where the Lord says to us, I will never leave you nor forsake you. There we see the promise of his perpetual presence. No matter what we've done, he'll never leave us. He'll never forsake us. But then there are times when we're wandering in life and crying during our toils. And he's so merciful that the psalmist says in Psalm 56:8 that he puts our tears in a bottle. Writer says he collects our tears and then records them in a book. And he does so as I'm wandering through life crying during my times of distress. But every once in a while, you run across a passage that seems to touch you in a special way. John 14, 1 through 3 is one of those passages. This passage seems to give you strength at the hour of weakness. It's like a pack of handkerchiefs. It dries tears. It's like an in-house surgeon. It mends broken hearts. This passage will work when nothing else will work. It handles life. What a powerful segment of scripture these verses are. These words are power-packed, and they have great force behind them. They are head-lifting, comforting words. When other things seem to send you downstream, this passage will help you go upstream. It has a way of lifting heavy burdens. It has a way of easing troubled minds. Well, there's something in this passage that your medical doctor can't discover. There's something here that you can get without money. You can be ignorant or you can be a professor. You can be rich or you can be poor. You can be learned or you can be illiterate. You can live in Hunter's Point or live in the hood. It makes no difference. Because this passage will work for anybody, regardless of race, creed, or color. It's an all-inclusive word to those who have a troubled heart. Story is told of a boy watching his father climb up the side of a building. The father was at the 20th story, and the son wanted to climb up to where his father was. He got about halfway up and looked down, and he became afraid. He said, Daddy, I don't think I'm going to make it. I'm nervous. It is too high. The father said to the son, son, stop looking down. Look up. If you look up, you can climb up. But you can't climb up while you're looking down. Have you ever been down? Are your burdens more than you can handle? You can't move up while you're looking down. Don't look down, but lift up your head so you can see where your help comes from. But just before we get to our lesson today, we gotta very quickly go back to the 13th chapter of John. It's there where he narrates the cleansing of the community, both physically in foot washing and figuratively dealing with his departure of his betrayer. After instructing his followers about the significance of foot washing and calling them to follow his example, Jesus makes it clear that he's well aware that all of them were not fully committed to him. He knew that there was a traitor in their midst. But in order that the scripture might be fulfilled, the one who dipped his hand in the bowl with Jesus was the same one who would lift his heel against Jesus.
Wow.
Psalm 49 records a prophecy where it says, "Yea, mine own familiar friend, in whom I trusted, which did eat my bread, hath lifted up his heel against me."
Wow.
And there's a word for those who have Judas-like tendencies. And that is, what you lift in defiance to the Lord, he'll bruise in defense. What you raise in rebellion, he'll respond with righteous indignation.
All right.
You better be careful what you raise and lift in defiance to God. Psalm 41 also shows the psalmist as a righteous person, facing opposition from malicious enemies who bring false charges against him. So we want to be encouraged that even though our human friends, family, or foes may turn against us, the treachery of the betrayers in our lives will not only be exposed, they'll also be expelled and ultimately eliminated. Judas's treachery did not come as a surprise to Jesus. His act of betrayal had been signaled ahead of time. Jesus was well aware of not only the defection, but the infection of Judas. He was infected with greed, pride, and selfishness.
All right.
It's pretty bad when you're infected with greed and pride, and at the same time you're hanging out with the doctor that could cure you of it. He had a doctor, but had no idea he was sick.
Yeah.
He would have a sick man selling the doctor that he really needed for 30 pieces of silver.
Well.
Never shall forget, Pastor Frakes called it a foolish sale.
Yeah.
Here you have the creature trying to put a price tag on the creator. You have evil personified, trying to sell divine excellence.
Wow.
If it was really money he wanted, he could have started a business empire right there on the Sea of Galilee.
Yeah.
He could have just asked Jesus to turn some rocks into bread. Then he could have opened a bakery right on the seashore. But that's not all. He could have opened a fish market to the bakery, next to the bakery, by just getting in the disciples' boat and letting down the net and bringing up the fish and in the net from the sea. And then he could have used the bread and the fish to sell fish sandwiches.
Well.
If he really wanted money. But that's not all. He could have opened a bank right there on the seashore. Just reach in the water, pick up a fish, and take a coin out of his mouth and make a deposit in the bank. But his pride was too deep, and his greed was too miscalculated, that he just ended up making a foolish sale for 30 measly pieces of silver. Oh, but what about us? We sell out God when we walk around with our heads down, like we don't have a dime in the world. After we just told someone, I'm a child of God and my Father is rich. One of the things you'll learn in life is that everyone who grins at you doesn't love you. Everyone that holds you don't mean you good. You all remember that song, you ain't been saved all your life. Smiling faces. Sometimes pretend to be your friend. Smiling faces show no traces of the evil that lurks within. Then they go on to say that smiling faces, sometimes they don't tell the truth. Smiling faces tell lies, and I've got proof. And I really don't understand why Judas would even attempt to sell out a man like Jesus. But I remember the words of the late Mordecai Johnson, the president of Howard University. He said, evil is incapable of a perfect plan. But Judas' attitude really exposes the condition of his sick heart. Sometimes we got a good thing and don't know it. Our attitudes are wrong. And in Judas' case, he didn't know that the evil that lurked within clouded his better judgment. How can you even put a price tag on Jesus? What kind of value can you put on someone who is omni unlimited? That's a new word. Omni unlimited. That's going to be in my book. And so today's scripture text opens with Jesus and his disciples sitting around the table. The disciples had just received some bad news. It was time for Jesus to leave. He'd been with them for 3 years. He'd been there to help them with whatever their needs were. He was their supplier if they were hungry. He supplied 2 fish and 5 loaves of bread.
Yes,
All right.
He fed everyone who followed him, and then he rewarded his servants by giving them extra. If the disciples ran into demons, he would cast them out. If their mother-in-law had a fever, he'd speak a word and the fever would flee. When they ran into a storm, he awakened out of a peaceful sleep and walked to the edge of the ship and said, "Peace, be still."
yes.
And there was a great calm. Whatever their needs were, he could and would supply. Jesus made the disciples look good because he lifted them up. When he found them, they were fishermen, farmers, tax collectors, publicans, and sinners.
Yeah.
He took nobodies and made somebody out of each one.
All right.
You do know that Jesus majors in taking nothing and making something out of it.
Yeah.
He'll change your countenance. He'll change your conduct. He'll change your Christian commitment. He'll give you courage and he'll help you in a crisis. He'll put joy in your heart and make you feel like you're somebody. So when somebody says you're nothing, Jesus said that you're a royal priesthood, a chosen generation, a peculiar people. When others say you're nothing, he says that you are my people and the sheep of my pasture. When you feel like a nobody, Jesus makes you feel like you're really somebody. But now it was time for Jesus to leave. The disciples heard he was getting ready to go. He left a trail everywhere he went. He would make statements like, "And I, if I be lifted up from the earth, will draw all men unto me."
Yes, sir.
He said things like, "For he shall be delivered unto the Gentiles, and shall be mocked and spitefully be treated and spit on, and they shall scourge him and put him to death. And on the 3rd day he shall rise again."
Yes.
He said, "Yet a little while I'm with you. Then I'll go unto him that sent me. You shall seek me and not find me. And where I am, thither ye cannot come." So the news of Jesus leaving left the disciples upset, nervous and baffled.
Yes, it is.
Jesus looked at them and saw them sitting around with their heads hung down. And it was so amazing because Jesus was the one on his way to Calvary. And there at Calvary, there were nails waiting for his innocent hands, rivets waiting for his innocent feet, a crown of thorns waiting to be placed on his head, and a spear to be thrust in his side. He was the one who would be tortured, beaten, bloodied, and bruised, and whipped until the blood ran down his back.
Yes.
You would think that someone who would have been encouraging him would have been them. But he turns to the disciples and says to them, first of all, he gives them a new peace. When he says, let not your heart be troubled. God deals with the heart and emotions of man. When our emotions get out of whack, nothing else works very well. When our hearts get messed up, we can't think straight. When our hearts get messed up, our feet don't move right, and our hands shake. When our hearts are messed up, sleep escapes us, and we're left to wrestle with dreary days. We can have a phone in every room, but don't want to talk to nobody.
Well,
We can have a big 70-inch big screen TV, don't even want to watch it. We can have a newspaper in one hand and a Bible in the other and don't want to read it.
well,
When our hearts are troubled, we may get on our knees, but we can't pray. Our friends want to talk to us, but we tell them nothing wrong. Did you not know that you can buy medicine over the counter for everything but a troubled heart? You take aspirin and Tylenol for headaches, Domes or curcumin for a backache, Rolaids or Nexium for acid indigestion. But when it comes to the heart, Jeanette, there's nothing that we can purchase through a prescription or over the counter that'll ease a trouble. The doctor just say you're going home. And they haven't found anything here. Just go on home. But we know we're hurting. If you're strung out on drugs, people can't help you if you don't know. You may be in church with the word going forth, but the word will do you no good if you don't allow it to work inside of you. It's been said that you may have heard it before that when people are hurting, they should remember at least 3 things. First, don't curse whatever you're hurting over, because when you curse it, you get angry. When you get angry at something, it lingers. And secondly, don't nurse it. Because if you nurse it, you become attached to it.
Yeah.
That's why it's difficult to get nursing babies out of the house. They become so attached to their mom that a babysitter can't keep them. Yeah. They know the babysitter don't have what mama had. Amen. Thirdly, don't rehearse it. Because when you rehearse something, it's like scratching a scab off a wound that's healing, and it makes it just start bleeding all over again. Jesus said, let not your heart be troubled. But he also said, ye believe in God, believe also in me. When he says this, he links himself as deity, meaning he and God are one. But then he says, in my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. So he not only gives them a new peace, but secondly, he gives them a new place.
Yeah.
Here, heaven is called a house, but heaven is also called a city.
Yeah.
In the Bible, heaven is also called a country because of its vastness, a city because of its huge population, a kingdom because it is in order, and a paradise because it's a place to rejoice. Isn't that good news? It's good news to know that one day we'll be there with him. It's good to know that we're going to a place where the wicked shall cease from trouble, where the weary shall be at rest. A place every day where every day will be Sunday and the Sabbath will have no end. Some say when I get ready to go, I'm going to walk straight in and sit down. Others say I'm going by way of chariot. Someone else says I'm going on the morning train because the evening train may be too late. Somebody else said I'm going to fly away and be at rest. My wife said a little while ago, I'm going by way of the ship, the old ship of Zion. You know she likes to cruise. Amen. And the reason many are going by the ship of Zion because there's a captain, and his name is Jesus. He said, I go to prepare a place for you. You know, sometimes there's some things the Lord does, and the other time he'll send someone else to do. It's been said, someone said this when he got ready to take Israel out of Egypt. He said Moses. When he got ready to send Israel to march across the Jordan, he sent Joshua. When he got ready to build the ark, he sent Noah. When he got ready to build the temple, he sent Solomon. When he wanted us to have patience, he sent Job. When he wanted us to be baptized, he sent John. When he needed a preacher, he sent Paul. When he got ready to save man, he couldn't contract that one out. He came himself. He couldn't send Moses because Moses wouldn't have got angry and beat up somebody and killed him. He couldn't have sent Noah because Noah spent too much time at the bar at happy hour. He had to come himself. But then notice he says, and if I go and prepare a place for you, I'll come again and receive you unto myself. He not only gave them a new peace, a new place, but finally he gave them a new place. He's coming back. I don't know when or where, but he's coming back. This message is confirmed after his resurrection. As the disciples stood on the Mount of Olives and watched him ascend the skyway to glory, the angels announced, this same Jesus, which is taken up from you into heaven, shall so come in like manner as you have seen him go into heaven. In what Paul calls the blessed hope of the church. Jesus is coming again. The story is told of Benjamin Disraeli. He was a member of the British House of Commons. When he was elected to the Parliament, he stood out from the others. He was a strange dresser for that day and time. He didn't follow formal protocol, and he was Jewish. When he arose to make his first speech, he was mocked by his fellow members of the Parliament. The uproar was so loud, he had to sit down and not speak. But before he sat down, he raised his voice and said, I'll sit down now, but you will hear from me again. He went on to lead Britain to greatness. This is the day of the Lord's rejection. Judas betrayed him. Peter denied him. The Jews mocked him, and the Romans crucified him. To this day, the world at large has no use for him. And with all of this coronavirus mania, very little, if anything, is said about Jesus. But he's going back home now. He says, I'll sit down now, but you will hear from me again. He's saying, I died, but I'm not dead. I was put in a grave, but the grave is empty. I am alive forevermore. I will be coming back again. Right putting the finishing touches on that wondrous place he's gone to prepare for us. He said, I will come again.
Yes.
And since I'm coming again, don't let your heart be troubled. Don't let it be troubled. Let it be full of peace. Don't let it be troubled. Let it be full of love. Don't let it be troubled. Let it be filled with joy.
Yes, sir.
Don't let it be troubled, because one day we're going to leave this old world and see Jesus in glory. And when it's all over,